Yo, guys, just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Yo, guys, happy Sunday. Hopefully, you guys are. I don't know. Starting good, starting fresh. It's a relatively long night. You know, we talk a lot, and for what it's worth in terms of the goodness for the sport, Devin was supposed to win last night. He was supposed to win. Ryan being the wild card that he is, he's got that hand speed and he's got that left hook. And Devin Haney, well, as we've always known, the fact that you can't hit hard is going to be a detriment for the rest of the career. As I said before, we talk a lot. And obviously, I like Ryan, but I'm not the biggest advocate of Ryan. I think going back to what I've said before, in the Tale of the Wolf, what's good and pure and honest, that would be Devin Haney, right? What's blemished and evil and not good for the sport would be Ryan, you see? Because we want to pick and choose who we like and who we want to win, right? So, like, for example, Ryan will make an excuse that he was weight drained and there was a rehydration for Tank, but then he will pay, $2 million essentially to have an advantage over Devin Haney. And as you can tell, and as I was telling my brother last night, Ryan looked huge. We know Devin Haney rehydrates a lot as well, but he always makes weight, right? Ryan has fought, I think, Oscar Duarte as well at, Ryan weight, at catch weights. Last night basically was a catch weight for Ryan as well. And like we always say, and we talked about as well in that long-ass 3-hour, 4-hour video with Ruben Villa and Esqueleto, Ray Vargas, Devin Haney continued to relinquish every leverage that he had and just succumbed to, he succumbed to Ryan Garcia's demands and stipulations, right? He let Ryan control the narrative. It was a wild card for Devin. Devin was like, I don't know if Ryan Garcia's taking this fight serious or not. To a certain degree, Ryan wasn't taking this fight serious or not. I guess he had bigger fish to fry. He wanted to speak the truth and say that his account was hacked and backtrack on his wording. So it's either you're going to speak the truth and stick to your guns and hold merit, or are you going to have a cop-out like Alex Jones and say, oh, I was playing an actor. I was acting, so I can suit the narratives. No, dude, if you're going to say some wild shit, stand by it, right? You can't backtrack and have an out just because you can get sued and, just because we have the freedom of speech, you can slander people and get sued because of these, words of defamation. But anyway, it's neither here nor there, man. Ryan beat Devin Garcia. He beat Devin. And again, if this was Oscar Valdez versus Scott Quigg, we give Oscar Valdez his roses against a C-level fighter in Scott Quigg. But because he didn't make weight and was overweight by 2 pounds, Oscar Valdez is a hero. But when Oscar Valdez fails a drug test, we don't really hold him to the same standard. And they rob Robson Conceição, we don't hold him to the same standard of basically Ryan Garcia not being a professional. You see? Because big picture, this is Ryan Garcia's legacy. He's going to do it his way, Frank Sinatra type of thing. And it's better to win in the fashion that you did last night, because no one's going to really care about the details of the fight, the context. Oh, he didn't make weight. He said that he was going to have an advantage. Why would he weight drain himself, right? And this is the difference between Devin and Ryan. Devin did make weight. He wanted to defend his belt. He wanted the belt to be on the line. Ryan didn't care about the belt. So whatever, again, what's good and pure and honest and bad or good Wolf situation, Devin was supposed to win last night because it would behoove boxing for Devin to win. Because not because Ryan is a wild card or Ryan isn't a good fighter. No, this kid is a 15-time national champion. That stands for something. But he hasn't become a champion professionally, and that stands for something as well. The problem with Ryan, no, Ryan, it's not that you're good looking and then you can fight and that you can pull chicks. It's not that. It's, at least when it comes down to certain people, that everywhere you walk, you are representative of not just your name, of yourself, but your parents and your last name. So you have to really adhere to that type of pressure to honor your bloodline, right? But when it comes down to Ryan, at least when it comes down to me, is I don't really like to air out my family business. So if I'm beefing with my promoter, I'm going to keep it professional, right? I'll go to the lawsuits. I'll go to my lawyers, kind of like how Canelo went about his business with Oscar the Lawyer, right? I don't really like people airing out their business. You know, for instance, if my wife was, let's say me and my wife are beefing, I wouldn't want her to go out into social media or Twitter and just blast my whole family or, you know, put my business out there. It's like, nah, bro. It's like, if you respect me, you know, and I respect you, you like, we got to keep our arguments in-house and settle this like adults, like loved ones. I don't want every single minute that the going gets tough, that, hey, you run back to your parents and then just say like, oh, you know, this dude, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. Well, that's Ryan Garcia. He's a wild card. So just because he won last night and maybe we put a little bit of money on the underdog because the odds were pretty crazy, doesn't mean that everything has changed. No, to me, nothing really has changed for the matter because this was always a clown fight. And I didn't really want this fight to happen, not because of what this could happen, but Devin stood nothing to gain from if he were able to beat Ryan Garcia, you know, because if he would have beaten him, he would have been like, nah, bro, you know, you guys don't know boxing. You know, there's no enablers. You know, Ryan was, he was not mentally right. But if you get beat, man, you just gave the guy like Ricardo Mayorga all of the all the awards for beating Vernon Forrest, right? It's essentially what happened. You give people that don't deserve the credibility now such more of a louder voice to be heard, right? Devin Haney, he thought, you know, this is cherry picking gone wrong. He thought Ryan Garcia was mentally impaired, that he was going to piece him apart. And kind of like, again, we talked about a lot about this, but everybody thinks that Ryan Garcia is a quitter, but no one calls Jorge Linares a quitter when Lomachenko hit him with the body shot. Ryan has done a lot of good things in his pro career. He stopped Luke Campbell, something Linares himself couldn't do, and something Lomachenko couldn't do. So that power and that speed is real. Now, if Ryan can just focus also on just building his arsenal and, you know, target the body with his left hook, it's not just left hooks to the face now. He'll be much more of a dangerous weapon. That left hook is a thing of beauty. Everybody knows that. I think I don't know if I made a live about this, but I asked the question, who has a better hook, Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia? And when it comes down to speed and timing, I got to give it to Ryan. When it comes down to thudding power, you know, I would give it to Oscar De La Hoya. But that's who Ryan should emulate the most, is Oscar De La Hoya. That shoulder roll, look, dude, if I'd rather get hit in my spine than getting hit in the face or the like proper liver shots. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it, dude, damage my kidney. I smoke and drink anyway. You know what I mean? So that's a funny ass shoulder roll. And Devin Haney couldn't solve the shoulder roll. Now, that's basically turning your back. So that's an illegal tactic, by the way, because what is Devin Haney supposed to hit? He can't hit nothing. Ryan is essentially ducking the fade and turning his back, leaving competition, right? Like, you can't turn your back in the sport of boxing. They do. It's a warning because this allows you to get hit in the head. The same way that Devin Haney was like lunging in and kind of using his head and his nostrils to headbutt Ryan Garcia, Ryan Garcia hit Devin Haney a lot of the times in the back of the head, but the difference here was Devin was ducking and allowed himself to get hit in the head, where Ryan, whether we like it or not, was essentially protecting himself at all times by turning his whole back completely away from the fight. All Devin had to do, and I don't know why he didn't do it, instead of looking to hit him in the spine or in his kidney, pivot to the ducking side that he's leaning over and break down the towering inferno. Like, damn, Devin, you're supposed to be fucking smart. Like, you don't know how to fucking do a Lomachenko move, fucking pivot that way, boom, 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 get squared up with him. And like it's, you know, that's how I know, like, look, fuck it. I'm not even going to go there. Nevertheless, Ryan Garcia, the madman that he is, you know, he came through. He came through. When people doubted him the most, you know, he came through. Very interesting. Very interesting. Congratulations. You know, kind of what we talked about in the past as well. We talk a lot. Devin Haney is not Tank Davis, right? Tank Davis has that equalizer where Ryan has to respect that power, and he can drop Ryan. Devin is always going to have these tough fights with guys like Jojo Diaz, Jorge Linares, because of that lack of punching power. Ryan fought a Jojo Diaz-like fighter and Javier Fortuna, and he made easy work of him. Now, I'm not saying that Ryan will make easy work of Jojo Diaz, but I can see Ryan knocking out Jojo Diaz with like a body shot, even tempo shots. You need power in the sport of boxing, right? Because when all else fails, like for instance, my guy Ruben Villa, love this fighter, man. You know, he represents everything that is good for the sport of boxing. But you need to have knockout power. You need to have power. This is why, like, I always preach that he needs to go for the knockdowns, or he needs a knockout performance, because knockouts and power, that thing sells. If you don't have knockout power or power in general, you have to do the 99% things correct. Footwork, chin tuck down, defense, mentally focused for 40 minutes of a fight, right? Like Devin Haney has to do in terms of being sharp, how Tyson Fury has to do, how Ruben Villa. But if you have power, you can make all these mistakes, because all it takes is that equalizing punch. Nevertheless, man, yeah, that was a very interesting performance on both men. You know, pros and cons for every little thing. I didn't really think this when this fight was happening. I didn't think that it was close. In 6 rounds, I had essentially the first round a 10-8 round, because it was so one-sided, right? It was so one-sided. I know everyone always deducts a point when the knockdowns happen, but you don't have to do that. It could be one-sided beatdown, because how Devin Haney was winning rounds, he was mainly winning off the inactivity of Ryan. And it was not like Devin was landing amazing punches to Ryan. He was barely etching out his rounds. When he was quote-unquote boxing, it just looked like, Ryan, why are you giving him so much respect? He can't crack. All he has is a jab. Devin is not a prolific body puncher. He's got a decent cross, got a decent left hook, but it ain't, you know, Tank Davis. Nevertheless, when Ryan would win rounds, it was a huge margin of domination. Punches landed to effectiveness. Devin was barely winning any barely winning any rounds, in my opinion. In the 6 rounds, like I had the first round 10-8. Second round was Devin. Ryan won the third, and he also won the 6th. I think Ryan literally should have 6 to 7 knockdowns in that fight. Bro, I think in the 7th round, I kid you not, I thought the referee was going to help Devin Haney and punch Ryan as well. Like, that dude was saving Devin Haney for dear life. And Ryan should have had 2 more knockdowns in that 7th round, because it doesn't necessarily have to be one punch and then you fall. No, it could be you're still hurt from that same punch. And if you haven't recovered and you're still flopping and taking the knees and falling face forward, those are still legitimate knockdowns, because you're off balance. You're still touching the canvas. And even if my punches are somewhat smothered, they're still causing damage, and it's residual effect. So Ryan essentially dropped Haney like 6 to 7 times in this fight. This fight was not close. And guys like Maddox and anybody and like that judge, these are dudes that never been into fights, judging fighters, right? And even guys that have been into fights, like if that was Andre Ward, bro, he would have this fucking fight a draw as well, because of their bias, of what they choose to like focus on. Anyway, man, you can basically say now that the clown show is over, you know, let's get into real boxing. People that actually respect their promoters, that don't really air out their business out in the public, you know, say contradicting and hypocritical things. People that are consistent, like Artur Beterbiev and, you know, Dimitri Bivol. Tyson, yeah, fuck Tyson Fury. I don't like Tyson Fury. He's another wild card, another cheater. But Alexander Usyk isn't. I don't know who wins these fights, man. I mean, I'm rooting for Bivol and I'm rooting for Usyk. But obviously, Artur Beterbiev could beat Bivol. He's got good boxing brain. He's got a good jab. He's got beautiful punching power. He's got creative punch selection. And to be honest with you, I don't really think that highly of Bivol. Yes, he did beat Canelo Alvarez, but you beat a guy in his 6th or 7th weight class when he started professionally at 140. No, wait, 135. No, yeah, 140, 147, 154, 160, 168, and 175. 6 weight classes Canelo has campaigned in, and you barely go the distance with him. Now, one time, do you wobble him, make him cut? I don't know if Bivol can beat Beterbiev, right? Bivol is a good boxer. You know, he's a good fighter. He's very focused. He's very effective at what he does. But I don't think that highly of him because you've only dominated one weight class. And when you win and when you have dominated that weight class, Beterbiev does the same thing, but he knocks these dudes out in less than 6 rounds when it took you 12. So that has to mean, and that has to stand for something. Like I said, I'll be rooting for Bivol because I could make this argument that he might have aged out Artur Beterbiev. You know, if this was a prime Artur, which you could be like, whoa, Rick, Artur's undefeated. You know, he hasn't lost. How could you say that he's not in his prime? No, age matters. You know, I mean, he's still 38, 39 years old. That's still that's very young. But when it comes down to combat sports, there's a reason why Artur in the last couple of years only fights 1 time a year. He gets injured a lot. It could be because of his rigorous training. It could be because he punches so fucking hard that he hurts his bones as well. And also could be because of age. I mean, Bivol is 7 or 6 years younger than Artur. That has to mean and stand for something. Kind of like how Devin has always had the advantages by being the youthful fighter against guys like Jojo Diaz, Jorge Linares, Lomachenko, Regis Prograis. You know, like Devin is like damn near 10 years younger than these guys. When he finally fights somebody that's as young as him, has the height and the arm length that can match his speed and have more power, Devin looks like the way he looked against Ryan. When you don't have every single leverage in terms of, you know, height and reach. When you finally fight somebody that's young for and can match your youth energy, you get pieced apart, right? Bivol, in one sense, could piece apart Artur Beterbiev, but he has that power that if you're caught slipping, he can drop you. He can hurt you, and he can change the outcome of the fight. Bivol has been caught. He got caught against Joe Smith, and he got buzzed, and he was wobbling to his corner. Let me see if I can find that. I mean, you guys can search it up. I think it happened on DAZN. Just type in Bivol versus Joe Smith Jr. Let me see. Bivol versus Joe Smith Jr. Highlights. It might have been round 10. Let me see. So, like I was saying, we can kind of state that Bivol might have aged out Artur. Because from what I heard, and I don't know if this is correct. Again, I don't know if this is correct, but they said that Artur Beterbiev would work Bivol, that he would beat him in sparring. I don't know if this is true or not, but obviously when these guys face off one another, Artur always he feels a certain type of way. And if Joe Smith Jr. can land these punches on Dimitri Bivol and put Bivol on skates and wobble him, then you know that Artur Beterbiev can do the same thing too. So it's going to be a very dangerous fight for Dimitri Bivol. You might say that Artur Beterbiev will win by KO. You could say that. But also this. I think Bivol is a very basic fighter. He's a very basic fighter that he does the essentials and the basics extremely well. But Beterbiev can do the basics well himself. But that power and that punch creativity and that timing, oh, that dude's a monster. As for Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury, that's I hope Usyk wins, but for some reason people like Tyson Fury. Now I don't know why you would like Tyson Fury. Yeah, man, I don't really know. But yeah, man, congratulations to Ryan Garcia. He did his job, you know. He was able to do things that a lot of people couldn't do. And you got to give him all the credit because Lomachenko couldn't knock out Devin Haney. Regis Prograis couldn't even touch Devin Haney. Jojo Diaz couldn't knock out Devin Haney. Ryan did that. Jorge Linares. Now let me ask you guys these questions. Could Ryan Garcia knock out or beat Lomachenko? Right? If Loma couldn't hurt Devin, though he did kind of stun him, but hurt him in the manner that Ryan did, could Ryan beat Lomachenko? You see? And it goes to this argument as well, man. A lot of people are going to want to give Tank Davis a lot of credit and be like, man, you lucky this wasn't Devin that wasn't Tank in there. Look, man. And I can't believe that I'm going to say this, but when it comes down to this boxing game, Tank Davis is smarter than all of these fighters in or around this weight class. That's crazy to say, but Tank knows fighting. He knows boxing. This is Tank Davis's world. This is his number one source of income. He's fucking studious about his craft. And he soaked in a lot of knowledge and game from Floyd Mayweather in terms of how he moved about his career. And he circumvented all the toughest fights. He ducked Lomachenko for 10 years, right? To this day, hasn't fought him. Hasn't fought Devin. Didn't fight the killers and Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor, but goes out there and beats hydrations and shit. Same thing with Ryan. Tank Davis doesn't let his pride get the best of him, like it gave Devin Haney problems, that he was going to meet Ryan in the center of the ring, that he was going to adhere to all of Ryan Garcia's demands and give up all his A-side rhetoric. He should have, Devin Haney should have been like, look, bro, I gave Ryan all these advantages that he wanted, and he comes in 4 pounds overweight. Fuck him. I'm going to fight Arnold Barboza. But no. He was like, fuck it. Honor your money. Every pound that you come in overweight, give me $500K. And you can't blame Ryan for that because you renegotiated when you could have said, no, dude, we have a contract in place. And if you don't fucking make weight, I'm going to fight Arnold Barboza. It's essentially the same way as you pulling out because I did my part and my end and I made weight and you didn't. It's like when Zurdo Ramirez weighed in 15 pounds to overweight to fight Gabe Rosado, and Gabe Rosado was so thirsty, let's just say, and he'd be like, fuck it, dude, I'll fight Zurdo. Why would you renegotiate 15 pounds? Why would you renegotiate 4 pounds? Every pound matters in the sport of boxing. You know, if my nephew went and he had his professional debut in Mexico, and my nephew is a 126 to 130 pounder, and then the commissioner over there in Mexico tells him, look, dude, we have a 140 pounder or a 135 pounder. Are you okay with fighting them? No, I'm not okay with fighting them. I'm not going to put my nephew in a position where he's going to get hurt by 15 pounds on fight night, let alone when that dude rehydrates. We came here, we signed a contract that we were going to make between 126 to 130 pounds. You have to honor that. So find a replacement. Don't give me a dude that's not on equal territory. That's basically what Devin Haney said. And he was like, nah, fuck it, dude. I'll still beat this dude. And he didn't. It's crazy for me to say this, but Tank Davis is the smartest fighter in or around these weight classes. See, Lomachenko has a lot of pride as well. And he should have took care of Devin Haney before fighting Teofimo Lopez. You could say that. You can say that. It's fair. It's a fair assessment because you let Devin Haney get a little bigger, a little more experience, and you could have knocked out Devin Haney before he fought George Kambosos. Lomachenko also played himself a little bit with what's his name, Teofimo Lopez, by giving Teofimo Lopez 6 rounds. You get what I'm saying? Tank Davis is the smartest fighter out of all of these dudes. And you might call him a coward if you want to, but that's just the reality. He's smarter. He knows this boxing game more than anybody. He studied the greats, man. He really has. Now, he might not articulately put it in perspective and say some iconic philosophical words, and you're like, wow, he said some deep, insightful shit where you're going to quote Tank Davis. No, right? But when it comes down to knowing how to fight, when it comes down to matchmaking and putting on stipulations and rehydration clauses on his contract, Tank Davis is walking a path that's going to lead him to be undefeated. In this sport of boxing, you guys can say, well, it's not about being undefeated. Look at Floyd Mayweather. He didn't fight a lot of black, prime, slick, undefeated fighters. He fought guys that came forward and pressed the action towards it. Yeah, you can say that. But at the end of the day, like, everybody has different arcs and storylines that they want to go about exploiting in the sport of boxing, and it's their book that they're writing. And some people, they protect that O. Shakur Stevenson protects that O. Like, for instance, Devin Haney could have pulled a Shakur Stevenson and ran from Ryan for dear life, like Shakur ran from Edwin de los Santos, but I'm glad that he didn't, right? Because that was cowardice of Shakur Stevenson, and he didn't win that fucking fight against Edwin, right? Much like this fight last night was not a draw by any stretch of the imagination. It was like 9-3 Ryan Garcia, plus like 7 knockdowns. K384, one person watching. Yeah, bro. I mean, it's fucking 7:30 in the morning. Everybody's hungover. I didn't send no links. But yeah, man. Yeah, congratulations with Ryan, man. He did his part. For as Coco the cuckoo bird sings in the day eating his cereal, Ryan held it down, man. He did all this promotion for this fight. Said a bunch of Tekashi 6ix9ine and told all these grown men like Timothy Bradley and Paulie Malignaggi and Jerron Boots Ennis, to suck his pecker. You can't really tell this dude nothing, right? Even more so now, right? You can criticize him before the antics, but he was able to do all this crazy shit, say all this crazy things, go on social media when he should be training like Devin, and then he goes out there and does this to Devin. Again, everything that we know about the sport of boxing that's supposed to be good and bad, for the goodness and the purity of the sport and the people that actually care about sanctioning bodies and champions and being undisputed and making history, well, that would be Devin. Everybody that loves this sport for what it is, it's good and pure. We lost last night. But then there's also like that degenerate behavior, like myself, where that I'm going to bet on the underdog just to, I like betting, but yeah, I was a little conflicted last night, because I was like, fuck, dude, Ryan's gonna win this shit. But I was kind of rooting for Devin because, yeah, man, I don't really like hypocritical, contradictory people, man. Like, I mean, if you're an evil person, be evil, man. Don't show your sympathetic side. Oh, you know, I'm a fucking prick to my family, but I'll treat my dogs good. I don't give a fuck, dude. You know what I mean? Like, if you're evil, be evil, period. If you're good, be good. You know, but nevertheless, man, anything that is good and pure for the sport, that was Devin. You got pieced apart. And he gave Ryan all the credibility that is needed. Because you can say, like, man, fuck being a champion if I can win millions and make history for my legacy last night. And if you're Devin, you're like, fuck. I wish that I fought Arnold Barboza. I wish that I didn't give Ryan this size advantage over me. I mean, this dude was smoking and drinking and, you know, sleeping with porn stars and divorcing honest women, and he still fucking pieced me up on, like, how the fuck did that happen? And the reality is, Ryan's a pretty good little fighter, man. That's why Tank needed all those stipulations to be able to beat him. Because Ryan is big, he's fast, he's strong, he's got a good IQ, and Ryan does what he does best, and he's got a beautiful left hook. It's fast. You don't really see it. Devin had his hand to his face when he got caught in the first round, but it still snapped his chin. And he was just throwing a jab with his right hand to his face. He could not take away Ryan's best punch from him. And that's crazy because you would think that he would be able to, being like a defensive wizard and coming from the school of Mayweather in terms of the defensive prowess and the intellect that they teach at their schools, but he couldn't take away his left hook. Tank Davis took away the left hook. And Devin Haney couldn't. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys, man. Tank Davis, when it comes down to this fighting, sport of boxing, he's got that shit down pat. He's got advisors and he listens to them. I'm not even trying to say that I would like to see Ryan Garcia running back with Tank, because I would like to see Tank versus Teofimo Lopez. But yeah, man, that was crazy shit. It was like a blitz, right? It's like if you're a quarterback and they keep continuing and sending all-out blitz. You know the blitz is coming. You just can't fucking stop it. You don't have this players to, you know, exploit the blitz and just throw a fade route or just lob up the ball and let your tall receiver, because you don't have a tall receiver and you're like, fuck, dude, I'm undersized. I can't beat these dudes. They're just blitzing. Everybody's crowding the box and my quarterback's getting fucking lit up. Like, damn. Also, Bill Haney. Cherry picking gone wrong. Trash talking gone wrong. Devin has heart, man. We know that he has heart because, you know, we know that he's a little chinny. We know that he holds on for dear life, but salute to him, man. He showed a lot of heart. He could have stopped and he could have stayed down in the 7th round. Bill Haney didn't do a good job of really protecting his son. When we criticized Gabriel Flores Sr., when Venado Lopez was piecing apart Gabe Flores Jr., we got to criticize Bill Haney. You have to save Devin Haney, bro, from himself, okay? The referee tried to do his best, you know, to help Devin Haney, but that fight should have been stopped, like, in the 7th round, bro. Like, if we're being completely honest, when he got hit, knocked the first, and in the 7th round, he got dropped, and Devin Haney was like extremely off balance, like Romero Duno. You had to stop it right there. So we got to be honest, and we got to criticize Bill Haney because there was a lot of hits behind the head that both fighters were doing to one another, but obviously it was taking a lot of effect for Devin. Devin was obviously visibly hurt, swollen up, with a lot of head contusions. Bro, that could have been like a Pritchard Colon situation. Devin was getting pieced apart, man. Now, he said that he was okay, you know, but yeah, that was a fucking one-sided ass beating. That was crazy. What the hell was that? That was weird. I hate when they go on commercials like that, man. Excuse me, man. Shit, I kind of got lost what I was saying towards the very end right there. Oh yeah, Bill Haney. He should be criticized, man. Extremely heavy, bro. You didn't protect your son extremely well. You should have thrown in the towel. You have to protect them because, yeah, we want to criticize Kenny Porter when he protected and threw in the towel relatively somewhat early. But Sean Porter was dropped 3 times in that round, and there was still time left. Devin Haney was dropped 3-4 times in that 7th round. Now that Harvey dude only counted it for 1, so shame on him. But shame on Bill Haney, bro. All this, Ryan Garcia's not La Raza, we're La Raza, we fought in Mexico and all this shit. Where's all that tough man talk now? Like, bro, you think you guys are tough. It's kind of what I told my nephew. It's like, look, man, we're athletes learning how to box, right? So we have to learn defense and stuff like that. But we're athletes trying to know how to box. But what we're really trying to do is become fighters. We're not fighters at heart in the sense that we don't throw it down on the streets. We don't go to schools and start fights. No, we do it at the boxing gym. So we're athletes trying to become fighters. When these dudes that were fighting and boxing, those are fighters trying to become boxers. So from when it comes down to a mentality perspective, right, we have to fake the funk and act like we're tough. And then there's dudes that are just tough. Now, that doesn't make us less of a man or more of a man. No, but when it comes down to our fighting style, it's going to look different and be different than from a fucking dude that's going to look like a Pitbull Cruz. You get what I'm saying? That's Devin Haney. Devin Haney, well, at least what he would say, that he would get into fights in school, then he would go to the boxing gym and channel that energy. That might be true. But when you get chin checked and you start hugging dear men for dear life, that's not what really fighters do. They go out in the shield and they keep slugging it. Devin has survival instinct, so he starts hugging and clinching and holding on for dear life. Ryan just turns his back. So these are athletes looking to become fighters, but they're athletes themselves with speed and good power, and that's why they're always in shape, right? Same thing probably with guys like Rolly Romero. Rolly Romero is probably an athlete, you know what I mean? I don't even know what sport he came, but he probably said he played baseball, right? He's like, oh, fuck it, man. I can probably make some good money boxing just because, I look the part and I got heavy, strong hands. But he's not really a fighter. When you fight a fucking fighter like Pitbull Cruz, god damn, bro. Like, you're like, how the fuck does this dude just keep charging at me like a fucking mad dog? But with high, good defense, chip tucked down and fucking these explosion power bombs, right? Same thing with Deontay Wilder. Wilder is not a fighter at heart. He's basically essentially a basketball player, right? With long arms, but he's got that right hand from heaven. Anyway, guys, deviating a little bit. Salute to Ryan, man. He dominated the clown show. He did his part. And, he can basically continue to say all the wild shit that he wants to say in life. Like, he's continued to say because you can't tell him nothing no more. You're not going to listen because his way is succeeding. Yeah, he took a loss against Tank Davis, but like we talked about it in the past, Devin Haney is not Tank Davis, right? On top of Devin Haney not being Tank Davis, this is a much closer fight. It's a 50-50. That same Ryan that's people deemed a quitter, he could have quit last night against Devin Haney if Devin Haney possessed that punch that Tank did. But he didn't, and that's exactly what it is, right? No one, at least to my knowledge, they don't call my boy Ruben Villa a quitter or a runner because he survived for dear life against Emmanuel Navarrete, right? They don't call him that. They're like, bro, you fucking ran from Navarrete after you got dropped. Well, that's kind of what he's supposed to do, right? No one ever says that Ruben is a quitter, but they call Ryan Garcia a quitter because he took a nasty-ass body punch from Tank Davis, right? But no one would call Jorge Linares a quitter when Lomachenko put him down. So we kind of pick and choose the narratives that we want, that kind of suits us. But if we're just being consistent, we knew that this was going to be a 50-50 fight. Because if you take Tank Davis out of the equation, and I know a lot of people don't want to give Tank Davis a lot of credit, myself included, but I know that he's a beast. If Ryan fought Devin before he fought Tank, and if you guys remember correctly, this was a 50-50 fight on paper. We might favor Devin just a little bit, right? Because of that performance with Jorge Linares. But then we also know against Jorge Linares, when you got caught in that 10th round, you held for dear life for the next 9 minutes. If Ryan catches you with that left hook, he's going to probably put you down because he's going to throw punches when you're clinching them and not let you survive like Jorge. Also this, man, Ryan's a good dude. I'm going to say this because he was telling Bill Haney, bro, like, what do you want me to do? He was looking at his corner, like when Lomachenko was beating on Richard Commey. Ryan was telling Bill Haney, bro, save your son. I don't want to hurt him no more. Right? That was honorable. That was honorable. That was amazing to see. And then he starts, doing the chicken dance and sticking out his tongue and just flossing all over Devin as he's walking you down still. Like Devin did, in a sense, fight Mexican style. He was the one pressing the action after getting dropped multiple times. Salute to Speed. He actually pointed that out. I was like, yeah, you're fucking right. He's still hurt and still pressing forward, trying to fucking cut off the ring and catch Ryan, which was crazy to see because it just lets you know that this was a very personal fight for Devin Haney. And bro, did he come up short badly? Like, this was a fucking one-sided ass kicking, like Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. In the rematch, could Devin make certain adjustments? Of course. Of course. One of them that he's going to focus on is like, okay, bro, I'm not going to give you no size advantage. Make under 140 pounds or 140. But, yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see. On that end, man, I'm out. Y'all have a good one. Happy Sunday. Happy church day. And, yeah, man, may God bless y'all.